Salute. I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa, and a Happy New Year's. Now, even though it's holiday time, we still got a lesson, so let's go. Happy holidays, guys. I want to talk about something that's really important that a lot of people ask me about. One of the things that people ask me about is edge weapons and things that they want to carry around. Things like this. These knives with the hooks on them, everybody loves them because they saw it in the movie Blade, and everybody wants to walk around with these knives. And I advise totally against that, because what happens is you have to explain this to the jury. If you should delete somebody or injure somebody severely, you have to explain this knife. And this kind of knife is a knife for war, not for a civilian. Most of you guys are civilians. You're just regular people who know some martial arts or trying to learn some martial arts, and you're not preparing for war. We live in a civilized society. So if a cop sees you with this, and I work with police officers, they may arrest you immediately and take you in. You may think that's unjust, but actually they can explain, I took him in because look what he was carrying. What was his intentions with this knife? This is why I advise against these kinds of edge weapons and prefer that you get a tactical pen, or that you have a regular pen and you can work with that. You know, I'm edge weapons. I've trained in the Philippines. I know all about the edge weapons techniques of Jujitsu and other styles of edge weapon training. I understand that. And I see a lot of guys on YouTube doing a lot of kill shots with guys, cutting their throat, ripping their backs out. You're going to jail. What's the guy who does that? You're going to jail. 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 Yeah, you're going to jail if you do that. I'll give you a short story. A martial art guy who's also my, what we call dojo brother, because we train under the same system with the same people. He worked for transit and he got robbed by some kids. He took out his knife and he started doing all the training that he learned with that knife. He ran after the kid, still cutting him and slicing him, and he deleted that child. And when he did that, come to find out, this kid wasn't a hardened criminal. It could have been his first heist, but he was an A student, doing well in school. His mother and father protested against this whole thing, and they even denied the fact that they tried to rob him. Now, I believe this guy because I know him, and he's a straight-up martial artist, but he's also a man with a lot of integrity. But he didn't understand what this could do. He practiced with it, and he used all the things that he practiced. Number one, all those throat cuts. Well, guess what? When you're doing that to somebody who is a real person, they're not going to survive that. No one's going to survive those techniques that you're learning. So when people get it and they talk about all the edge weapon techniques they learn and how they pass this down, and all that stuff is great. But in reality, you can't use those kinds of things in a civilized society. You can go to the Philippines, they sign some sort of agreement, treaty, that if anybody dies, no one goes to jail. That doesn't work here. We don't do that here. So you can't have a showdown where you can do a knife fight, and if you should die, if you don't survive, you're totally free. No, that's not how it works. If you delete somebody, you're going to jail. Sing that song again. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. I always tell people that when we talk about self-defense, you gotta be able to explain what you did to that jury, why you did it, how you was in fear for your life. You have to explain that. Why were you carrying this knife? Why this? And I'm not just getting on you young guys because you watched the movie Raid and all of a sudden you want to work with the knife. I'm not just criticizing you because I'm guilty of the same thing. Years ago, they had a movie called Rambo, and it was the Rambo knife. And I went and I had the Rambo knife, and all the black belts in the school, we started walking around with these Rambo knives. So one day I'm on the train, and as I'm holding on, the cop notices that I have a Rambo knife. He goes and he confronts me. I tell him I'm a martial arts instructor. You know, I teach at so-and-so and so. And the next stop is, that's where my dojo is at. And I gave him my card. He got my martial arts card. And he's also a martial artist, so he knew who I was. He goes, oh man, you're Mo, you're Sensei Mo. Yeah, I saw you at the last tournament, blah, 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 blah. I said, yes. He said, man, but I stopped you because that knife means you have the intent to come out here and hurt somebody. You know, it's not gonna work in court that you're walking around with this Rambo knife for personal self-defense. So always think about what the jury's gonna say. Not only are you gonna be successful in your self-defense because you're getting great instruction, you're getting great instruction, so you're gonna most likely survive, especially if you're training with guys like me. You're gonna survive, you're gonna do well, but how do you explain that to a jury? And that's the thing that I tell people. So I don't carry these kinds of knives because I can't explain that to a jury. I can use any adaptable object I can use. Like, I just picked this up. I can use this. I know how to use this. I can poke with it. I can slash with it. I can do a lot of things, but I won't delete you with it. And I can say to the jury, in the heat of battle, I found this and I poked him in the throat with it. I hit him in the throat and that was it. I hit him in the eye and that was it. The fight was over. I threw this into his mouth. He was talking and I put it in his mouth right there. Boom, right into his mouth. He was talking, I hit him right in the mouth with it. I can tell that to the jury. Oh, okay, you find it? There's all kinds of Christmas decorations. That makes sense. But if I'm carrying this around, they go, oh, he couldn't wait. The prosecutor's gonna go, he couldn't wait until he got in some sort of argument or confrontation with somebody so he could use all of his martial arts stuff that he likes so much. And he couldn't wait to use these things to actually delete that person. So that's an explanation, and that's why I am against these kinds of things. I'm more like, use what you can find. And I gotta say to you, who's walking around with two knives? You gotta be a nut. There's nuts that do that. You know, they walk around, they got 2 and 3 knives on them. That's another thing that's going to get you arrested. It's going to get you arrested. You're walking around with 2 and 3 knives for what? But there's some people that go overboard into this. And you got to understand, again, I'm saying it, we live in a civilized society. This is not a combat zone. So if you want to learn more about how to use objects, stuff you can find, definitely join the Patreon. I got you. Happy holidays. Salute.